So today our topic is about what is DNA. So basically, we define the DNA is the deoxyribonucleic acid, which is basically the genetic material present in the living organism. So it stores the instructions needed for growth, development, and reproduction. So DNA contains genes that control the protein production. It is also responsible that DNA is mainly found in the nucleus of the cell. So it is organized into the structures called the chromosomes, and the small amount of the DNA are also present in the mitochondria. So it controls the biological functions like the metabolism and the immunity. So there is the difference in the DNA make each individual's unique. So there is some importance of the DNA technology. The first importance is that it drives the advancement in the medicine, agriculture, forensics, and the research. It also enables the genetic testing, disease diagnosis, and personalized treatment. It has been also helpful to improve the crop yield and resistance by genetically modify organism which we call the GMOs. It helpful to identify the individuals in the forensic investigation and the paternity testing. So it also enhanced understanding of the genetic evolution and the biological process. So there have been some rise ethical concerns related to the gene editing and the genetic privacy. So first we introduce the introductions to the forensic DNA analysis. Basically, it has been shown that the forensic uses of DNA to identify the individuals involved in the crimes. So DNA is collected from the bloods, hair, saliva, or the skin cells, and it is highly reliable and scientifically accepted. So, DNA profiling in the forensic science is helpful to identify the different testing. For example, DNA profiling, identifying the individuals based on the unique DNA patterns, also called the DNA fingerprinting, that have been used worldwide in investigations, and it is basically developed in the 1980s. Firstly, DNA profiling have been used for scenes investigations. For example, when the DNA have been found in the blood and the hair, so it links suspect to the crime scenes. It also helped to solve the violent crimes and it prevent the false accusations. So it strengthened the justice systems in the world. Secondly, DNA is also helpful for the paternity testing. For example, DNA confirmed the biological relationships. It used in the family disputes. It have been also important in the legal cases, and it is highly accurate results which require the small DNA molecules. So now we discuss what are the benefits of the DNA in the forensic. So these are very highly accuracy in the determination of any test. They works with the small samples and having a long lasting evidence. They are very reliable in the scientific methods and reduce the wrongful convictions. So here we discuss the worldwide conservation. For example, conservation is basically protecting the animal species. So DNA helps to study the wild populations used without farming animals, and it's important for endangered species that support the biodiversity protection. Second, it's also helpful for the species identification. For example, DNA barcoding identify the species. It also useful when animals look similar, and it help to identify the animal products, prevent the illegal trades, and also support the conservation law. In the same way, it also helpful for the population monitoring. For example, DNA estimate the population size, it track the genetic diversity, it also help to manage the breeding programs and prevent the inbreedings, improve the survival rate. So in illegal wild trades, DNA identify the pouched animals and traces the origin of these animal products used for ivory and the skins. It also support the law enforcement and reduce the worldwide crimes. So in the genetic conservations, they have been studied that the genetic variations maintain the healthy populations, protect the endangered species, improve the adaptation stability, and support the long-term conservation. So there is one of the case study of the tigers, which we identified that DNA identified this individual tigers. So we trace some populations which have been declined, and it helped to stop the poaching and support the conservation program to improve the species production. Second case study was also investigated in the DNA of the elephants to track the every origins and to identify their poaching regions to help their international control and protect the elephant population to support the worldwide law. So the future of the DNA is that basically it has fostered the DNA analysis methods. It is basically cheaper genetic testing and having a better conservation tool to improve the forensic accuracy and more scientific discoveries. Thank you so much.